Continuing to farm up with Swampert, the opponent attempts to catch a move on the silly electric fish, no such luck. I full send the Earthquake, does the opponent. Respect the damage! Welcome back to the channel. This season I did promise to feature my own battles more often. I had around 2 weeks off due to Christmas, New Year. However, I haven't forgot my promise and we are back at it. Another thing I'm back at is work. I'm working night shift. Boo-hoo. You don't have to feel sorry for me. We've all got to earn a living. So I had around 1 hour to do sets. So I thought, how can I make these battles go quick? Sorry, not sorry, it's time to bust out a Charmer. There's so many teams that have got no respect for Charm, probably because Tentacruel's everywhere. So I'm running a Charmer with two things that can beat Steel and Poison types in the back with double ground. Without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game number 1, my toxic charming ways are looking absolutely brilliant, as not only do we win lead, the opponent safe switches into something else weak to charm in the form of Giratina. The opponent fire off the Shadow Sneak, we withstand the damage. I'm going to look to charm down, farm down, into a range ring, come in with Gliscor, get the full wing attack, farm down, and hopefully quake that Poliwrath. As I said in the intro, I needed my battles to go quick, because I only get an hour for my lunch. And I managed to do all 5 sets in 1 hour 15 minutes, which is absolutely ridiculous for the Open Ultra League, where a lot of people see the timeout clock. You're not going to see any of that nonsense on this channel. We managed to wing attack, farm down, Giratina back out. Comes Poliwrath, we full send the Earthquake. Earthquake rocks Poliwrath down below half health, and the opponent's still going to be forced to throw a charge move. I instantly click no shield. The opponent fires off the Icy Wind. Switch timer is misaligned, so I'm going to wait out my clock. Send back out Alolan Ninetales, and let's see if 2-shield Swampert can sweep the back line. The opponent sends out Ampharos, we fire 1 charm, and the Weatherball forces the first Protect Shield, and this is already G to the G. Of course, the only win con for the opponent is landing a Trailblaze or Focus Blast. We love to shield flex, however, I'm just going to 2-shield whatever the opponent throws. I'll be honest at this stage, I'm not even counting. I'm trying to yam a Jacket Potato with Chili down my throat, just trying to throw it good timing. Again, I don't even think this is enough for a Trailblaze. We're going to shield it up. Mr. Opponent doesn't want a top left, so if they want that work, my god, is Swampert going to give it to him. Ampharos now easily in Hydro Cannon range. High Ampharos, by Ampharos, back out. Comes Poliwrath, and we're going to go for the BM Overkill Quake, and we're going to be off to a very quick 1-0 start. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle, we see Tapu Fini in the lead. Of course, both Gliscor and Swampert don't really fancy this matchup. You can see the Shadow variant of Alolan Ninetales isn't all that bulky out of this opponent. Goes straight Surf, so it's an easy no-shield decision. Just the Water Guns and Surf have already got me down below half health. We're going to return fire with the Psyshock. Psyshock goes unshielded. We get the Charm down, farm down, and I'm going to look to pivot into Gliscor. The opponent temporarily brought out the stupid Tin Can Registeel and then switch out into the latest Pokemon to get a Comday, Decidueye. Decidueye does not appreciate the Night Slash. The opponent looks like they're planning to save 2 shields for Registeel. We're going to shield up the potential Frenzy Plant, commit to the wing attack, farm down, and once again this already looks over. My opponent evidently agrees as a top left with 2 shields in tow. Moving on to the next battle. The big fluffy jellyfish, another thing our backline can struggle with. However, don't worry, when you've got a toxic Charmer in the lead, you can just tap your phone and apply massive fast move pressure. The opponent farms up well past the Shadow Ball, but the thing is, when you're on Shadow Pokemon, people love to bait. So we don't respect it. The opponent throws the Surf, we withstand the damage, return fire with the Psyshock. The unfortunate thing here is the opponent is going to throw back-to-back Surfs. We're going to shield the first, tank the second, and then just maintain alignment. Despite me having a double ground backline, I actually do like to maintain alignment with this team, because of course if they've got something like a Cresselia or a Grass type, we need Gliscor to be on it. The opponent actually safe switch into G-Weezy, so we pivot into Gliscor. The opponent stays in, look to chip me with a Brutal Swing. We pause a turn, ensuring the opponent can't make an Earthquake catch onto a potential flyer. We full send the Earthquake, forcing the first Protect Shield. If you've been around this channel for a while, you should know I do not like to fucking bait. I just like to YOLO nukes and hope for the best. The opponent also YOLO the nuke, full sending the Overheat, vanquishing me. Back to my Pokeball, we now send out Swampert. As the opponent's debuff the own attack, we're going to massively overfarm. The opponent goes for a Hydro Cannon catch, no such luck. Once again, there is no baiting. Does the opponent respect the damage? Earthquake lands through the Protect Shield, and we're going to take another very quick game. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see a huge core breaker. Of course, I was expecting Alolan Sandslash to not be all that common, as Poliwrath is without a doubt the most common mon currently in the Open Ultra League. So I'm just going to have to sack my lead and hope for the best. This doesn't look fantastic, but when you're going to build a team, you're always going to be weak to something, and I've chose to be weak to Sonic the Hedgehog. This opponent, recognising I must be ABA weak as I'm staying in a dreadful matchup, choose to shield up the Psyshock and get a huge Shadow Claw farm down. This does not look great. We're going to tank the first move. The opponent throw the Ice Punch. I'm really hoping I can shield once and mud shot farm all the way down. We shield up the next ice punch. Can we get the full mud shot farm down? No, the opponent survives on a sliver of HP and we're now in absolute shambles. I now have two very glassy shadow Pokemon with no protect shields too high behind. So spoiler alert, I'm about to get my ass kicked. However, I actually enjoyed losing this battle because this opponent is running a full shadow team. So huge shout out to this trainer. I land the Earthquake, aggressively pivot into Gliscor, and you're going to see the opponent's third shadow is Shadow Charizard. Someone did post in my comment section saying I haven't run Shadow Charizard in a while, so if you'd like to see me run this team that the opponent is kicking my ass with, post it down below and I'll look to run it in the coming days. Huge shout out to this trainer and good luck on your journey this season. Moving on to the next one. Alolan Ninetales into Tapu Fini. We've seen this one play out before. So if the opponent builds up to the Moonblast, I will respect the first move. This opponent does indeed build up to the Moonblast. They normally bait, but I don't really fancy trying to get rid of this Tapu Fini when Ninetales is down. We unfortunately do get baited. Return fire with the Psyshock. Psyshock force the Protect Shield. And either way, we are going to be able to now shield this next move up, get the Charm down, Farm down. And once again, we're going to have the correct alignment for the opponent's backline. I'm looking top right. The opponent sends out Skeledirge. We respond with Gliscor, and I'm just going to look to chip him with the Night Slash. One Night Slash will put him into Hydro Cannon range. The opponent chooses to save their final Protect Shield. I've got no shields remaining. However, Shadow Ball won't quite be lethal. We tank the Shadow Ball. We were going to throw one Wing Attack and the next Night Slash. The opponent opt to send out Giratina. We fire off a Night Slash as a parting gift. The opponent still has one Protect Shield, too high behind. However, we've still got Ninetales pretty healthy with residual energy. Where does the opponent want to spend that final Protect Shield? We send back out Ninetales. Fire off the Weather Ball. Weather Ball forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. And this, once again, is just going to be game over. The win con's going to be very simple. We've just got to farm up with Swampert to the back-to-back Hydro Cannons. Hydro Cannon, of course, is resisted due to Giratina's Dragon typing, but they're so low, it's going to be more than enough to knock out. The opponent can fire off two Dragon Claws, but Swampert is going to be able to withstand the damage. The opponent's switch timer will be popping up shortly. However, they don't switch out. We're at the back-to-back. It's going to be high Giratina, by Giratina. Back out comes the Crocodile, and Hydro Cannon is going to be massive overkill. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle. We need Shadow Alolan Ninetales into yet another Tapu Fini. Are you serious? Where are my trusty poison types when I need them? The opponent actually chooses to give up switch, sending out G-Weezy, and I'll respond with Swampert. Swampert's far more favourable in this matchup than Gliscor, due to Hydro Cannon hitting for huge neutral damage and us being more spammy to the Earthquake. Once again, there is no bait, and we full send the Earthquake. Earthquake vanquishes the opponent back to their Pokeball. When Tapu Fini does return, we're going to look to commit to the Earthquake to prevent the opponent over farming. However, this opponent has other ideas. Throw the Surf, we withstand the damage. We're not going to reach the Earthquakes, we're just going to chip them with the Hydro Cannon. This is resisted, but still does some respectable chip damage. Shout out to my mate Matty, trying to call me in the middle of battle. Sorry buddy, I did call him back later. I'm not as ignorant as people might think. The opponent's final Pokemon is Skeledirge, and it's time to get my fishing rod out, as we've both got two shields apiece. The opponent's going to throw Disarming Voices, and I'm going to be out here fishing for the boost. The first Night Slash forces the opponent's first Protect Shield. We get the boost. We then throw two Wing Attacks and the Night Slash for optimal fast move time, and the opponent invests the final Protect Shield. We throw two further Wing Attacks, the same as before. Always try and throw at Discipline time in Night Slash. Secures the knockout back out. Comes Tapu Fini. We're not going to reach the Quake, so we're just going to fire off the resisted Night Slash, but this is boosted. Does massive damage. We switch into Ninetales, get the Charm down, Farm down, and take that game. In the next battle, we see a Cresselia in the lead. A lot of Cresselia teams are pretty much people that abuse legendaries. For some reason, people love to pair Cresselia with Giratina. I've always wondered why. They're both weak to dark, but people have been doing that shit since Season 1. So we pivot into Gliscor, hoping to draw it out. Instead, we draw out the huge Core Breaker, and we're already looking pretty fucked. If you're wondering how much a double super effective Ice Punch does, Shadow on Shadow Crime, it absolutely one-shots. Oof. We're now going to send out Swampert. Swampert can, of course, tank one Ice Punch. We're then going to look to overfarm, throw on the CMP tie, and hope there's something weak we can beat in the back. We farm up, throw on the CMP tie. Hydro Cannon will be enough, as this is Shadow on Shadow Crime, but look how low I am. Despite being low though, we're not in danger of getting Psycho Cut farm down, and we do have a whole heap of residual energy. The opponent actually chooses to send out Swampert. We full send the Earthquake. Earthquake forces the first protection. We pivot back into Ninetales. The opponent goes for that wham bam combo play. Send out Cresselia. We shield up the Moonblast, throw one Charm and the Weather Ball. 3 turn into 2 turn, really easy to time your fast moves, just throw on odd numbers. As this battle was playing out, I thought Wincon is going to be landing the Psyshock on the returning Poliwrath, so we shield up the incoming Grass Knot, commit to the full Charm Down, Farm Down. The opponent still has 1 Protect Shield, 2 high behind once again. We throw 1 Charm and the Weatherball bait. Jamie Finn 1415 is the best Master Baiter in the world. I look to reach the Psyshock and we die at the move, and unfortunately we're going to take a loss. So we've actually managed to lose to both Sandslashes we've seen thus far on the video. GG's to that opponent. In the next battle, we see Giratina in the lead. This opponent is staying in. I've seen Giratina paired quite often with Poliwrath, so that's what I imagine they have in the back. The opponent go for the double resisted Dragon Claw bait. Whoa, that's a strange play. So then pivot into Tapu Fini. I don't have an immediate response, so I'm going to shield up the Surf, get off as much charm damage as possible, and look to force a shield back, or land the damage with the Psyshock. I don't think there's any point in baiting here. We don't bait often, other than the last game. I think the correct play here would have been to go for the Surf catch onto Swampert instead. I'm going to shield up the next Surf. I'm going to throw 1 further charm, put them into a range where I can wing attack Farm Down with Gliscor before they even reach another Surf and get a running start. The opponent does indeed have Poliwrath in the back. ABA weak to charm. We full send the Earthquake. Does the opponent respect the damage? Earthquake goes unshielded. That should be pretty much game over. The opponent is going to take me out with an Icy Wind, but we can send out Swampert, Mudshot, Farm Down. We're going to be able to Earthquake Giratina, and we've got the Weatherball banked. We wait out our timer, and the opponent actually recognise the game's over and concede the match. Moving on to the next one. In the next battle, Ninetales into Swampert. Ninetales and Swampert are usually partners in crime, however this time they're facing off against each other. The opponent throw the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon, a very busted move. It does big damage. The opponent Safe Switch into Alolan Mark, and we respond with Swampert. As this isn't a Shadow Alolan Mark, we don't need to be too worried about the Dark Pulse. However, as they're not Shadow, we do need to full send an Earthquake, as Hydro Cannon won't get the job done, so we massively overfarm, fire off the Earthquake, Earthquake goes unshielded, back out, comes the opposing Swampert, and we're going to be able to fire off the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon forces the opponent's first Protect Shield. The opponent's counting absolutely on point. They don't want to play to CMP, so they throw 1 before, which is the safe play. The opponent doesn't quite have a move bank, so we come in with Ninetales again, throw the 1 charm for good fast move timing and the Weatherball, and I can't believe the opponent actually chose to burn their final Protect Shield. I'm thinking, we're just going to 2 shield Gliscor and see if we can cook something up. The opponent is continuing to stay in. We're of course going to shield the Hydro Cannon. The opponent is now on a 4 cycle, but looking at the health, I'm thinking 4 wing attacks will knock out. The opponent agrees, pivot out into Clefable with no Protect Shields. We're just going to go straight Earthquake all the way, 1 Earthquake. Probably doesn't quite put them into Night Slash range. I've used rank 1 Clefable before and Night Slash does absolutely nothing. So we tank the Moonblast. I'm going to overfarm again. I'm just going to play it safe. Full send an Earthquake. Not do anything silly. Earthquake is going to be huge overkill. And we're going to be able to wing attack Farm Down Swampert and take that game. In the next battle, we see Trevenant in the lead. I haven't really seen too many Trevenant this season, although there is plenty of targets for it. The opponent is going to build up to a potential Shadow Ball, and once again we're going to look to call the bait. The opponent throw the Seed Bomb, and that still does a lot of damage with the residual Shadow Claws again. 1 charm and the Weatherball. Weatherball will knock out or force a protection. The opponent opt to shield. Looks like the opponent's looking for full Shadow Claw Farm Down, so we aggressively pivot into Gliscor, drawing out Guzzlord. The opponent already down 1 Protect Shield. So of course we're not going to bait. We full send the Earthquake. Guzzlord incredibly thick, but Earthquake rocks him deep into the red. We are quite low, but Dragon Claw won't be lethal. The opponent fires off the Dragon Claw. We're going to throw 1 wing attack and the Night Slash. Much like the Clefable matchup, you're going to see just how little this is going to do without same type attack bonus. The opponent does survive. We do manage to wing attack Farm Down. The opponent's final Pokemon is Registeel, and we've now got the perfect alignment. We fire off 1 Night Slash. The opponent gets a lock on Farm Down. We send out Swampert. I'm looking top right, anticipating the opponent, going for the combo play. You can see I did tap Ninetales, but I'm caught in the Mudshot animation. But either way, we shield up the Seed Bomb, Mudshot Farm Down, and the opponent concedes the match. In the next battle, we see Poliwrath in the lead, and once again this opponent is staying in. I honestly hate Charm. I'm not an advocate for Charm whatsoever. However, so many teams are ABA weak. We shield up the Skull, which is going to allow us to get the full Charm Down, Farm Down. I'm almost certain the opponent's got Giratina. They actually have double Dark Poison. So if you're going to run the team that I've been running for 2 years, Poliwrath double Dark Poison. If you see a Charmer in the lead, for fuck's sake, swap out. Of course, once again, there's going to be no baiting. We're going to full send the Earthquake and demand shields from the opponent. Earthquake does force a Protect Shield of Drapion. We've got no interest in shielding up Gliscor. Thank you very much for your contribution. The opponent fires off 1 more Aqua Tail. We withstand the damage. The opponent now forced to throw or make 1 further Earthquake. And Swampert should have a pretty clear path to victory. I think I'm just wasting my own time and my opponent's time by trying to get some use out of this Ninetales. To be honest, it cost me like 680,000 Stardust to build, so I may as well use it. We fire off the Weather Ball, the opponent then pivots out into Muck. They fire off the Dark Pulse, we withstand the damage. We're just going to overfarm now, we're just going to go straight Hydro Cannon all the way. The opponent still has a Protect Shield, they opt to shield here. And now we can just shield up this. This is actually just an Acid Spray. They're not even at the Dark Pulse. But I think if I tank this, they might Poison Jab farm down. Before we reach the double moves, you can see I'm running out of HP. We farm up to the double Hydro Cannon. High Muck, buy Muck. When Drapion does return, it's going to meet the same fate. High Drapion, buy Drapion. And I'm sorry, buddy. The channel mascot won't be winning this game. GG's and thanks for playing. I think that matchup could have played out somewhat different if the opponent actually safe switched. Of course, I do have a very hard check for the Dark Poisons in the form of Swampert. If you're going to run an ABB team, you've got 2 responses for the lead you lose against. I definitely recommend switching out. In the next battle, we see the Pancake. Unova Stun Fist. We tank a charge move, say switch into Gliscor. The opponent fires off the Discharge, which does absolutely nothing, and then send out Poliwrath. If you've made it to this part of the video of me chatting absolute nonsense over some Pokemon Go battles, you know I'm going to force in the Earthquake. Earthquake goes unshielded. I could obviously shield this up, wing attack farm down, but instead I'm going to save 2 shields for the goat and hope the goat can do goat things. We're just going to send in Ninetales, commit to the full, charm down, farm down, and see what the opponent wants to do. I doubt the opponent sends out the Pancake as we've got residual energy good to go. They choose to send out their third, which is Tentacle. We fire off the Psyshock, force a Protect Shield, and let's go Swampert. We've got a 2-to-1 shield advantage, and the opponent's team is incredibly weak to Swampert. We're going to respect the Scald. Please no debuff. The opponent doesn't get the debuff. They then look to catch the Earthquake onto Stun Fist. We overfarm, fire off the Hydro Cannon. The Hydro Cannon will be secure in the knockout. Back out comes Tentacle. Am I going to bait? Of course fucking not. Does the opponent respect the damage? They do not, and that is going to be all she wrote. Oh, hello old friend Alolan Sandslash. Why can I not see this Alolan Sandslash lead when I had Poliwrath? I'm only kidding. It is what it is. We are currently 0-2 against Sandslash. Are we about to be 0-3? The opponent lands the Drill Run. We're going to throw 3 Charms and the Psyshock. Psyshock is single resisted, whereas Weather Ball would be double resisted. Psyshock goes unshielded. The opponent actually opt to throw as soon as they get the Drill Run. This is pretty good for me, so perhaps we've got a chance. I don't know if that was an undercharge. The opponent does get 2 more Shadow Claws. The opponent actually now send out Defense Deoxys, and this could be playable. We're going to look to chip this Deoxys. I highly doubt they Psycho Boost after switch locking themselves. I'm going to take this opportunity to massively overfarm. I dare the opponent to throw the Psycho Boost. Of course they don't. They throw the Rock Slide, an easy tank for Swampert. I'm going to bank a boatload of energy, hoping to deal that Sandslash later with Swampert and send out Gliscor. Again, energy is going to be key. These Rock Slides hit for neutral, but Deoxys hits like a wet noodle. The opponent still has 2 Protect Shields, so we need to massively overfarm. The opponent throws the Psycho Boost. We're going to farm up to 100 energy and throw the Night Slash. Night Slash will be knocking out. Of course, the opponent isn't going to shield after debuffing themselves. Back out comes Sandslash. I actually thought they were too short of a move. We play to a CMP tie. Have I thrown this game? We've got so much energy on Gliscor. We are going to shield it up. We've got energy here, there, and everywhere. Night Slash goes unshielded. The opponent not wanting to get farmed down. Send out Poliwrath. We're going to full send the Earthquake. Does the opponent respect the damage? The first Earthquake. Force the Protect Shield. And again, there is no baiting. Does the opponent respect this Earthquake? No, they don't. Oof, this battle is going to be incredibly close. I am going to shield up the Icy Wind. We're going to need to get to back-to-back Hydro Cannons or Mud Shot farm down. Swampert running out of HP. Can we get the Mud Shot farm down? We cannot. And we're going to lose another game against Sandslash. Heartbreaking. Oh, 0-3 against Sandslash. In the next battle, we see Cresselia. A pretty neutral matchup. This video is actually 3 entire sets in like 22 minutes, which is pretty cool. You can see just how quick this team is. So if you want to win quickly and get your ass kicked by Alolan Sandslash, this is the team for you. Speaking of Sonic, the last Cresselia lead had a Sandslash in the back, so I guess we're going to have to try and draw it out by sacrificing Gliscor to the Pokegods. This time we've actually got shield advantage, so we pivot into Gliscor, the opponent stays in, so I'm just going to look to farm up as much as I physically can get. The opponent throw the Grass Knot. They actually don't have Sandslash, they send out Poliwrath. They give me a huge energy lead, so of course we full send the Earthquake. Earthquake goes unshielded. Once again, an argument could be made. I could shield up this Icy Wind, commit to the Wing Attack, farm down. But I am absolutely a slave for saving 2 shields for the GOAT, Shadow Swampert. So we just allow Gliscor to go down, send out Ninetales. Ninetales gets the full charm down, farm down. Back out comes Cresselia with a move bank, and we're going to put it all on the GOAT. The opponent actually only throws a grass knot, which doesn't knock out, so we bank the weather ball, pivot into Swampert. We're going to farm up, throw the Hydro Cannon on the CMP tie. Hydro Cannon goes unshielded. The opponent's final Pokemon is Ampharos and 2-shield Swampert for the dub. Let's go. Heading into the next battle. Another Poliwrath in the lead. Let's go. This opponent switches out into Skuntank, so I already imagine this is going to be Poliwrath Double Dark Poison. I'm going to shield the incoming potential Trailblaze, massively overfarm, and then look to Quake the returning Poliwrath. This opponent does have Trailblaze. I personally recommend Flamethrower, although Trailblaze is viable. We'll go for an undercharge, get an extra Mud Shot. Poliwrath will be returning, and of course we're going to YOLO the Quake. The thing with YOLO and the Quake is, as they've probably got Draper in the back, they're probably going to shield this, which will give me shield parity. The opponent does shield up, and again, we're going to commit to the next Earthquake, looking to force the energy. You can see if I would have thrown the Hydro Cannon there, the opponent could have easily tanked it, then counter-farmed me down like this. We're in the 1-to-1 shield, we send out Ninetales, the opponent sends out Drapion. We go for a very risky Sludge Bomb catch. Did we make a Sludge Bomb catch? Let's go. Now we're in the 1-to-1 shield. I see so many players bait. That is not my style. We're either guaranteeing the knockout or we're going to guarantee the final shield. We tank the crunch. The opponent does get the debuff. We're not going to get Poison Stung farm down. The question is, does the opponent respect the damage? Earthquake goes unshielded. Back out comes Poliwrath. We're not going to reach another Quake. The debuff's probably advantageous. It gives a minimal farm. Night Slash doesn't do a lot, but all chip damage is viable. Poliwrath rapidly running out of HP. The opponent's probably only going to reach one move. They opt to throw the Icy Wind bait, but no bait will be saving this opponent's fate. GG's and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle, dreadful lead but 2 responses in the back. We say switch into Gliscor. Interestingly, this opponent is staying in. I have no idea why, to be honest. The opponent fires off the Focus Blast, which doesn't do too much damage, and then send out Poliwrath. I have no idea why you'd send in a fighter after giving me a huge amount of free energy. This is going to be one of the rare cases where I'm actually going to shield up Gliscor, because we're going to be able to wing attack farm all the way down. If they've got no response for Gliscor, we're just going to be able to Quake the Reggie when it returns. Back out comes Reggie. I think this is an easy bait opportunity, but we're still going to YOLO the Quake. Quake does get a Protect Shield, and we're actually going to make one further Quake. Gliscor absolutely popping off. Even though this Quake is debuffed, it pretty much puts them into Hydro Cannon range, and Reggie is actually going to be forced to throw again. I don't throw the Night Slash. We're going to commit to the next Quake, force the energy. Focus Blast does secure the knockout. After hard losing lead, we can now realign our Pokemon. I send out Swampert, the opponent sends out Cresselia, and we're going to send out Ninetales. I have no idea why the opponent didn't send out Cresselia to meet Gliscor. Of course, we have got Night Slash, but it doesn't get the same type attack bonus. It's a pretty neutral matchup unless we boost. We're just going to do as much damage as possible with Ninetales and save our shield for Swampert. The opponent actually chooses to shield Cresselia. You can see they're pretty much approaching Earthquake range. They're probably in Earthquake range, to be honest. The opponent fires off the Moonblast, which doesn't secure the knockout. Ninetales able to reach one further Weather Ball, which is even better for me as it now puts him in Hydro Cannon range. The opponent does get the full Psycho Cut farm down. We send out Swampert. Of course, we're going to respect the potential Grass Knot. And to close the video, we're going to see Swampert sweep another team. The opponent sends out Registeel. We easily tank any one move. The opponent throws the Focus Blast. In Ultra League, that certainly isn't enough. Even in the Great League, you tank one. We farm up well over the double Hydro Cannon for no reason whatsoever. One Hydro Cannon takes care of the Tin Can, and one Hydro Cannon is going to take care of Crest. GG's, and thanks for playing. So those were the battles with a team that I put together with the objective of the team to get through my sets as quickly as possible. I did play these on my lunch break while I was actually trying to eat as well. I don't think it's the hardest team to run. Of course, Ninetales is just a fast move beatdown mon. Swampert and Gliscor do take somewhat more intricacy as energy management is super important, but either way, I managed to get all 5 sets done in around 1 hour 15 minutes whilst eating. I went 17 and 8 on the day, so overall I can't complain whatsoever. All 5 sets were positive. I can't remember the last day I had a day like that. We're now approaching around Veteran Elo. I think I ended at like 24.84, something like that. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button if you're new. Consider subscribing if you like your battles featured on my channel. Link to the battle submission form is down below. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.